cluster analysis with Tableau. Okay, we're going to learn how you can go about cluster analysis. Um, First thing you need to do is to load your data into Tableau. Then you have your data here. That's the data set we are going to use right here. It's an online shop data actually. So that's the data we're going to use, and the analytics we are going to do here is we're trying to cluster the customer the age group based on the average sales, right? So we're going to look at the total sales, the sales per age group. So we're going to group the sales based on um customers, like age group. So here we take the age group right here, and then the sales, we have the sales on the table right here. Great. Let's just put the age on top here, so you can come right here and then switch it. Great. So in the columns we have the age, and then on the row side, these are the rows, and then we have the total sales. I think it's better that way. Secondly, the age needs to be like a dimension. Age shouldn't be like sum or whatever. It should be a dimension. So you change it to dimension. And then the next one is the sales, right? You don't want to have a total sale right here. Okay, you don't want to accumulate it. You want to have average sales. So we're going to change this measure to average, right? Better that way. So you have for if each and every age you have the total sale, right? Like when you are in this bracket 15 to 20, you can clearly see the total sales and so on, right? So when you have this 18, that's the average sales. Okay, when you have 20, that's the average sale, and so on. It goes up the ladder. 69, that's the average sales, and so on. The next thing that you want to do is to change this, because this is the line graph. Okay, you want to change this to circle. So you come down here, you change it to circle. Very important. Great. And then lastly, you come down to analytics. So you have analytics right here. Then you change it. You have the analytics here. Great. And then when you scroll down here, you have the summarize, you have the model, and then the custom. Here we want to use the model because this is cluster analytics, right? So you to cluster is right here. Take it down here, and then you shift it down up here. Look at that. And then you drop it down. So when you come down to the drop down menu, then you have it. That's the cluster actually. So you have like 3 clusters by default. You have 3 clusters here. That's the the model actually. Tableau found like 3 clusters, for this very data set. Now, if you are not just fine with it, you can, if you want to change it, you can change the cluster, right? Over here, if you think 3 clusters is not like, what you think your data should, be grouped into, you can change it. So you might want to put, if you want to put like, you think 2 clusters is better, you can do so. So when you put 2 in here in this drop down box, you have, right here. Let me take this one up. Great. So you have 2 clusters, and that's how it looks if you were to group your data set into 2 clusters, right? Now if you want to keep by default 3, then you just remove this one, and by default you have 3 clusters. And clearly when you look at it, we can clearly see that we have this age group, people that customers that spent like within, I should say, 30. Let me just close this drop down line. You have customers that spend between 20 and 35 right here. So between 20 and 35, so they are within this age group on 55 to 70, I should say. So they spend below 35, I should say. Okay, below 35. And then you have the second group. These are people that spend between 35 and, I should say, 45. Okay, roughly between 35 and 45. And then you have these customers that spend above $45. So these are above 45, I should say. So that's what it is here. Over here clearly we can see the age doesn't really have it doesn't really the cluster is not really based on actually age group. It's basically based on the sales actually, because when you look at the cluster here, these are people that spend less than 35, and over here 35 and 45, and then above 45. And when you look at closely here, you see the age group that varies between 20 and 65. So all these people within this age range, that's the how much they spent. And when you come down here, they are within this age bracket 55 and 70 and so on. When you come here, actually it's like literally like any age group, because it varies between 15 and 80, people within the first cluster one actually. So there you have it, and that's just how you can go about cluster analytics using Tableau. Thank you for watching.